So guys, this is not a hate video on My Hero Academia. I actually love My Hero Academia. I just want to talk about this aspect of Deku, and him not physically training really is something I don't like. He should have physically trained. He put in all this work to mark down in his notebook all about these heroes and their quirks, which helps him strategically later in the show. If he had put in at least a little bit of physical training, he would have been better. I mean, shouldn't this guy know that there's probably heroes out there with quirks that aren't that strong, but physically trained through it? I mean, there's evidence that quirks, there's quirks and then there's physical training. Now, a lot of people make the comparison of Asta and Deku, and they're like, oh, one Black Clover, the Black Clover universe lets the humans train to become physically superhuman. In My Hero Academia, that isn't the case. They just have quirks, which is something I do not agree with at all. Endeavor is this big, beefy superhero with a fire quirk, and not all of his power is just fire. He has, super strength and super speed. It seems that he did physical training, and that you have to physical train as well in My Hero Academia, and you can physically train to become superhuman as well. I mean, what is Aizawa? Does he have super strength, super speed? I mean, he can only cancel quirks. He has martial arts, and yeah, he needs to have at least peak human level abilities. I really think that Deku should have physically trained, because if he is this analytical of heroes, he should know that they physically train themselves to become super strong. And he could have kind of figured out, well, oh, these guys, they train their quirk and they train physically. If I train just physically, I could become maybe a hero just through sheer physical strength, and he didn't do that. Now, I do need to say, there is not, I guess, 100% evidence that all of the quirk users with superhuman strength, where their strength isn't even their quirk. I mean, maybe there's, I know some people say, oh, well, if you just get a quirk, you get strong as well. But I don't know if I agree with that. But if that is the case, then just disregard this video. I'm not an expert on My Hero Academia, so let me know. I'm actually interested to learn more about the subject. But still, Deku should have trained physically. He's a 14-year-old kid. I get it. He's bullied. He doesn't have a quirk. When most people do, he's not very encouraged at this time. But he's encouraged enough to still believe he still might be a hero someday, and writes down all these notes. Why not push-ups or sit-ups or running? If he got himself in physical shape, that puts him at more of an advantage than he would be before. If he gets in any of these situations, being physically stronger or physically faster is going to be better than being weaker or slower than he would have been in any situation. And there is actually some evidence that if Deku had trained a lot, he might have been able to get superhuman level of strength and speed. In just 10 months of training with All Might, of cleaning the beach and doing some minor physical training, he went from being pretty weak to pretty strong. For a 14-year-old kid of his size and stature, to have All Might sitting on his back and he's doing squats with him on his back, he is repping 500 pounds of squats. All Might weighs over 250 kilograms, and he's repping 500 on squats. For a man of his size, with that level of strength as a 14-year-old, just based on if he kept physically training, getting stronger, getting bigger, adding more muscle mass, he would reach superhuman levels of strength. Guys, I am a big guy that is over 20 years old, and repping 500 I can do, but it's hard for me to do. I can do a 1-rep map of 600 on squat. But this guy is just Deku. He's this little short kid with almost no muscle mass, or a very light amount of muscle, and he's repping 500 on squats. That's impressive. And if you just base off of 10 months of training, imagine a few more years of training, and he actually gets bigger, he's going to have superhuman strength. There's just no doubt about it. And we would just do basic power scaling. You can deduct that that's what would happen, because All Might, when he got One for All, he could use 100% from the get-go because of how physically strong and fast he was. He was special. It's probably because All Might already had superhuman strength and speed and durability through physical training before he even got the quirk. Because if Deku could only use 5% after even further physically training, then you could easily say that All Might is 20 times stronger than Deku, at least. Let's just say that it's only 10 times, because let's say that One for All got twice as strong when Deku got it. I don't know if it gets that strong, but it does get stronger with each user passing it down. So let's say that All Might was at least 10 times stronger than Deku was when he got it. Well, if Deku is repping 500 on squats, times that by 10, All Might is repping 5,000 on squats, which no human can even get close to be doing, which would qualify for superhuman strength. And if All Might can do it without a quirk, then it is possible that Deku could do it, especially based on his training already. Deku is supposed to be this super analytical and strategical guy who analyzes heroes and their powers. How does he not know that you can get physically stronger to this superhuman level with physical training? And at least if he did physical training, he'd be a bit more respected. He'd be bigger, and he'd be stronger, he'd be faster, he'd be less of a target, because if there is still 20% of other people that are quirkless, well, if you get big and strong and you put yourself at the top of the quirk list, you're going to be less likely to be bullied and more respected, especially if you can get superhuman strength and speed and durability, which I would say that is more likely than not being the case just based on All Might being able to use 100%. He was probably an absolute beast. So yeah, I do think that Deku should have trained. Again, I'm not critiquing the series. I like the series. I enjoy Deku struggling with One for All in the beginning of the series. It was really interesting. Seeing him get to 5% was a cool progression of his character and his character growth of how much he's been working. Then to 8%, and then in the manga he's even further now. I like that progression. I'm not using this as a critique against the series. I'm just saying on like a basis of logic that Deku should have physically trained. I get it. He was bullied. But still, he wanted to be a hero. And even if he doesn't know that these guys are training, if you're trying to be a hero, and one of the ways you're trying to be a hero is through how smart you are and how much you know, well, why not be physically strong and physically fast while you're at it? If you even reach your body's full potential, you're way better than a smart person who's trying to be a hero who isn't at their physical potential. Deku should have trained. But when there's evidence showing that you can become superhuman strength with speed through training in this universe, Deku really should have trained. Like I said, for 10 months he went from being this shrimpy little kid with no strength to repping the weight of All Might, which is over 500 pounds on squat. And if you scale All Might getting One for All and able to use 100% from the beginning, then All Might was probably superhuman strength, speed, durability, all of that. That's just my thoughts, guys. I thought this was an interesting topic. I'm working on a cool video. I want to compare the leadership and the master relationship of Asta and Yami and All Might and Deku and see which one is better. Who is the better master? Because I love, these are like my two favorite series right now, My Academia and Black Clover. And what's funny is the two authors of these two series are actually friends in real life as well. But yeah, I think that people are going to be surprised at who's the better master. And what's interesting, they have two very different ways of teaching, which is really going to be cool to look at. But let me know you guys' thoughts down below. Please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And also turn on notifications to be notified every time I upload a video. Hope you guys all have an amazing day.